Unshelling Medicine Podcast. Healthcare in the language we understand.
Hello, great people. Welcome to another wonderful episode. Today, I happen to have Mr. Mike Reed with me. Mike Reed is the founder of SoundQuest and SoundQuest Academy. We are going to learn a lot, me included. So I'm pretty excited to have this conversation with Mr. Mike. Hi, Mike. How are you?
Great. I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for being here. We're super grateful. And we're looking forward to learn a lot today from you. So SoundQuest, can you tell us a little bit about SoundQuest?
Well, SoundQuest is my sound healing brand. It's my company. And what we do is we host sound bath events. So for those people who are listening who don't know what a sound bath is, it's becoming a very popular holistic wellness and healing modality that involves sound and vibration. And sound and vibration has a very profound effect on the brain waves if they are emanated and played in a certain way. So, most people think of music and, performance, a musical performance as entertainment, right? But when you are lying down and receiving the sound and vibrational healing from instruments such as gongs, singing bowls, harmoniums, even voice activations and that sort of thing, it has a profound effect on healing the nervous system. And that's what I specialize in, is regulating people's nervous systems. And so I go around with SoundQuest events and I offer these experiences that take people through a sonic journey that brings their brainwaves down and slows down the brainwaves from the waking consciousness brainwave, which is called the beta brainwave, and slows it down to the theta and delta brainwaves, which is, where they get to oscillate somewhere between meditation and sleeping. And that's when the parasympathetic nervous system overrides the sympathetic nervous system. So this is where you're in deep rest, non-sleep, deep rest, and your aperture of consciousness expands and your body goes through self-healing, homeostasis, and you come out of this experience feeling rested, restored, renewed, at peace. And it just allows people a pause, which is so needed in today's busy world, with all the stimuli coming at us at all times. It's a great way to give yourself a time to pause and allow yourself to give yourself space, because when we are too jammed in ourselves and we are not giving ourselves enough time to rest, relax, tune inward, tend to that inner garden, our inner sanctuary. And, I always say the roots become the fruits. So whatever's going on in your internal world, in your internal space, is what's going to be manifested in your external reality. So when you give yourself that pause and lie down and receive this healing experience that regulates the nervous system, it really gives you an opportunity to go through your days with more creativity rather than reactivity and emotional overwhelm. And so that's SoundQuest. That's what SoundQuest specializes in. And it's growing and becoming more and more successful. And so I partner with specific venues such as yoga studios and other types of venues. And I also am being constantly booked for private events, wellness retreats. It's really a great modality for integration after people have done deep inner work with like psychedelic medicine or any kind of like emotional intelligence inquiry where they're doing deep dives on themselves. And I also get hired for corporate events, corporate wellness things. Like, it's just becoming more and more in demand as people discover the power of what it is. And so that's one side of my business. And then the other side is my academy. SoundQuest Academy is where I teach sound healers and aspiring sound healers how to not only perform sound healing experiences effectively, but also how to then turn this into what they do for a living using systems and models that I've figured out over many years. And they can apply in their practice and make it either a side hustle, something that they do alongside of their current employment or work or whatever they're doing for their income. It's an amazing opportunity to create a secondary income stream. If you want to do sound bath events on the weekends, let's say, or in the evenings, or you can take it all the way and turn it into a full-on career. And that's the gist of what I do with SoundQuest Academy and my students.
That's beautiful. So is there anything in particular that piqued your interest in the area of, sound healing?
It's a great question. Yeah. So, I would say maybe 12 years ago, I was in a pretty dark place in my life. I was not happy. I was quite miserable, to be honest. I was working up in northern Canada, like way up there where humans should not be. it's, it's not a very hospitable environment.
Oh,
But I was working in the mining industry, driving these giant trucks around, and I just was not happy with my work. It was good money, but I was not able to fit in with the people that I was working with. I was working these 12-hour shifts. I was, just not doing well with myself. I hadn't found a path yet where wellness, healing, spirituality, and just general wellness seeking was not part of my lifestyle. In fact, I was quite unhealthy. I was not being nice to myself. I was, using alcohol. I was just having trouble with relationships. And I felt like I was just falling on my face constantly in life in general. And so I kind of got this gift of desperation where I was like, I'm not doing life correctly. Something's wrong here. And so I started to seek out ways to, improve myself. And so it started with yoga. And through yoga, I started to realize that I was able to change my internal state through these practices of moving my body, stretching out my body, and then getting into the shavasana position where I would go into a deep meditation, and that would make me feel amazing, for the rest of the day. And I just felt like regulated and calm and peaceful in myself. And that took me on a journey of seeking more things like float tank therapy, sensory deprivation tanks I got into for a while. I was intrigued by a podcast I heard with Graham Hancock. He's an archaeologist, and I remember him discussing the power of psychedelic medicines like ayahuasca. And that compelled me to explore that because that sounded like something that I could really use at that time to figure out, why I was the way I was and what was making me so unhappy. And so I decided to explore that. And then I went and joined a whole shamanic apprenticeship for multiple years. I was studying shamanism with an amazing teacher named Angela Pryder from here in British Columbia, where I live. And then, from there, I was just on this path of continually seeking, and on that journey of seeking improvement on myself, I discovered sound healing and actually have a musical background. So a common theme in my life has always been music from a young age. I started with piano and then guitar and then played drums, was in a bunch of different musical acts and bands over the years. And so because sound healing has musical elements to it, it fascinated me because when I received it for the first time, I was like, wow, that was incredible, because I'd never achieved that depth of a meditation before, where I was having these visions and insights and seeing different aspects of my life, and just having this amazing nervous system regulation experience through sound. And it had musical elements to it. So I was like, what was that? Right. And so I just got obsessed with it, and I started reading books about it, acquiring instruments, and starting to collect, a whole different variety of these sound healing tools. And I started to offer free one-on-one sound bath sessions for people, just friends, family, acquaintances, whoever wanted to come and lay down. And I set up like a nice little spa like situation in my basement. And I was just offering it for free. And I just wanted to know what made a sound healing experience effective. And then after the session was done, I would give them a feedback form to fill out. And then I was compiling data about like what works and what doesn't work. It was sort of like my research and development phase before I even knew that I was going to turn this into what I do for a living. So it was out of pure interest. And then when I felt ready, I felt like I had like these templates that worked on most people, found it effective and healing. I said, okay, I can probably take this out into the world and offer this publicly to, the general public. So full circle, I went to the yoga studio where I started this whole healing journey on myself, and I approached them and I said, hey, would it be possible to offer this as an event, maybe let's say once a month at your studio? And because they have they had an established following, I was able to leverage their marketing to fill these events, and they were selling out consistently. And that gave me like this extra boost of confidence and motivation and enthusiasm, because I'm like, I found something that works, right? And then I started to sort of copy and paste that idea all over the region where I lived, where got to the point where I was doing, 12 to 15 of these events per month at different locations. And now I was like, okay, I'm making like a living doing this. This is amazing. I'm helping a lot of people. And I think it's because I honored it as a business and like a structure. And I created like a model to follow that allowed consistent monthly income and revenue to come in. And I was able to help a lot of people while matching and exceeding my living expenses, so that I didn't have to work in any kind of employment or any kind of situation that I wasn't passionate about anymore, because I had just had enough of all of that. I didn't want to work as an employee. I didn't want to do tasks that I wasn't, enthusiastic about in exchange for a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, just kept going. I think I found something that I'm supposed to be doing. And it's just been this amazing adventure where it's taken me in all kinds of places and connected me with people that I can't even believe that I'm in contact with nowadays, like people that I used to see on podcasts and on YouTube, and people that I've seen on television before and stuff like that, where I'm now, they're in my Rolodex of contacts. And it's just taken me on this kind of magical journey. And I think it's a sign that I'm on the right path, because something seems to be meeting me halfway as I put my own effort in. There's something that's coming in on top of it that's sort of like opening these portals and paths as I move forward with this. So I'm continuously motivated to continue to pursue this.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That is quite a journey that unfortunately it's not unique, but I am so happy that you found your way. A lot of people aren't happy, but they feel stuck. but you had the initiative to like, okay, something's got to work. Something has to bring me out of this. With more, I'm a firm believer that the more you open up yourself to possibilities, the possibilities come. So
Mm.
you opened up yourself to yoga, you opened up yourself to learning more, and you found out about the podcast with the psychedelics, and right, it just took you down the path of where you needed to be, and here you are. So I am so happy for you that you found something that actually satisfies your soul on a level that makes you smile while you're helping people. It's such an incredible feeling to have that, I'm sure. So when it comes to sound, different sounds mean different things to people. They say music heals. Music is the balm to the soul. How do you curate your sessions to the people who are in attendance? Some people may respond to a singing bowl, right, like a crystal ball. Some people may respond to chimes of a bell or even drums. So, how do you curate things? Is there an assessment that you do for your potential client, or it's just an open attendance?
Yeah, it's really just, like I don't discriminate against anyone. Anyone that wants to come and experience what I do, they can come,
Mm.
unless they have some contraindications that might be harmful, like, if they have like some sort of pacemaker issue, or might want to inquire if they're 8 months pregnant or something like that, and then it might there might be some kind of issues. They have epilepsy, or Tourette's can be a problem in a sound bath where you're supposed to be still and quiet. So yeah, there's some people that are I have to have conversation with before they come and attend these sessions, but for the most part everyone is great. And I like to appeal to the whole spectrum of society. I know sound healing can get really into some like the woo woo stuff, like
Ooh, somebody knows that word. Yes.
yeah, I'm not like that. I'm not one of those people that
Ooh, stuff.
all the stuff that astrological concepts. A lot of people bring that into experiences, and maybe there's some truth to all that, but it's just not my jam. I like to appeal to Bob the golfer, but Rainbow the hippie can come to my events too. I don't care. It's anyone can come. And my jam is just I want to regulate people's nervous system.
Okay.
I'm not trying to send you to like the 5D reality or something like that.
Okay.
I'm just trying to help you feel regulated, peaceful, and spread that around to your community and people you interact with.
Mm, wouldn't consider astrology woo woo, but I mean, to each his own.
I'm sorry, I
But
don't mean to offend you. Maybe
you
astrology is.
don't understand it, and not everybody gets it, and I don't completely get it, understanding it. So, a student of the world, but it's great that you are very you don't claim to know what you don't know, and you don't claim to use a gimmick, right?
Mm,
To use your talent, right? You
yeah.
do have this talent that you understand music, you know music, and you have the experience of having to conduct a case study with your friends and families. I mean, that's commitment because friends and families can be brutal with their feedback, but
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
you know you breathe through that, to have that feedback, which is commendable. It shows that you're actually committed to doing it the right way and doing it for what you want it to be, not what you think will sell. There's a huge difference there. You're very sincere about your practices. So, as a musician, what surprised you the most when sound healing was effective in basically pulling you out of this dark place that you described? Were you completely shocked, or were you like, okay, that makes sense?
Yeah, because before that, music and music had always just been a thing of entertainment
Yeah.
for me. I performed music on stages and bands. It was for entertainment. It was to make people dance and enjoy themselves. And I guess there's healing elements to that as well. But in terms of like my physical body, like there's like a science to it. There's like biological, physiological processes that occur that
Mhm.
are real. Like the power of sound waves can have profound effects on physical matter.
Right.
And that was what was fascinating to me. Sound can move physical objects, right? And we are all vibrating. If you zoom in close enough on all our beings, we are actually nothing.
Yeah.
We're just energy. If you
Yeah.
zoom in close enough on any object, there's nothing really actually there. It's just a bunch of energy. So we are, sound is invisible, but it's actually, moving things that we perceive as physical. And what I'm fascinated about is the science behind all that, and how the full spectrum of sound that the human hearing range is capable of perceiving is usually around 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. And so when you played some of these instruments like the gongs, crystal singing bowls, that full spectrum of sound and vibration is being perceived all at the same time. And so the part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, the analytical mind that's interpreting my words right now, and you're making sense of what I'm saying, and it's going through your ears and into your brain, and you're making sense of what you're hearing, right? But when you're hearing these instruments like the gongs, the untuned gongs, and these gongs, Paiste makes really good gongs, Chow gongs, and there's a whole variety of different gongs that I use. And what they do is they emanate that full spectrum of sound, and so the mind is trying to grasp onto what it's hearing and all the stimuli that's coming in, but it can't, because it's the full spectrum of sound and frequency and vibration all at once. And so that analytical mind just gives up. It's like, I can't figure this out. I give up, whatever. I'm just going to go into deep meditation. And so it's almost like this involuntary meditation that takes place. And that's when the nervous system regulates, and you go into that homeostasis, self-healing state. And that's sound healing in a nutshell.
Right. And kind of like a
So that's
forced
what I like. I'm
relaxation.
more fascinated in the science and how it works on the physical body. And that's what I do. And I'll bring in some shamanic elements that I learned in my apprenticeship, in my events, and that sort of thing. Of course, I do believe there's things that are unseen that are real from my direct lived experience, but I kind of try to like Trojan horse that in to the experience without being explicit about it, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It does make sense. So the rational mind is a control freak. It's kind of like that micromanager that sends you into overdrive. But once everything relaxes, the body now has time to heal itself and is able to do what it's supposed to do. So, in your practice, do you use more than one instrument at a time, or you do use one instrument and you tell your prospective audience of the instruments, or do you have them find out when they come to one of these sound bath events?
Sometimes I will layer instruments.
Okay.
Like I'll have one instrument playing while I'm playing another instrument, or I'll play two instruments at once. Like, for example, I have this tool called a 10-minute rain stick, and it just sounds kind of like gentle rain sounds. While that's going, I'm walking around with some bar chimes or playing the singing bowls or other instruments while that's going on. Or I'll be playing the harmonium, using my voice with vocal overtoning, and playing crystal singing bowls at the same time as well. So yeah, Sometimes I'll just be playing one instrument. If I'm playing the gongs, it's just the gongs because my hands are full with the mallets that I'm using. And other times it's a layer of different instruments. I'm also more recently getting into looping, so using technology with a microphone where I can record, bars of music, like let's say like a rhythmic sound with a chicapa or a rattle,
Right.
and then I can play a flute over top of that and make a whole layered song, maybe use my voice. So I'm starting to get into that world. I'm also excited to start adding in musical performance elements into my events as well. So that not only is it going to be a sound bath, but also sort of like a musical journey at the end of my events where I'm actually playing music for people, like almost like a concert that they get at the end while they're still lying down and sort of coming out of the experience.
That sounds beautiful. That sounds awesome. So, have you had feedback from, your attendees about preference? Do you think there's a preference for a certain musical style as opposed to others, or people are just willing to go on the journey wherever the journey takes them?
Well, I always say that, if I have 30 people at one of my events, there's going to be 30 different experiences
Mhm.
happening all at the same time. Everybody's coming in with a different background,
Right.
maybe they had a stressful day at work. Maybe they're going through some grief and loss. Maybe they're coming in just looking to relax and looking at it like some sort of spa like experience. Maybe they're just interested in the actual experience of a sound bath. It depends on what people are coming into the space with. So I don't take it personally if someone doesn't necessarily love the experience, because it's quite probable that it's their own internal unresolved things that are happening. Like some people have a real hard time without distraction and just being in with themselves and tuning inward, because there might be some uncomfortable unresolved things that are going on inside of them, and so whenever those feelings come up, they'll distract by scrolling TikTok or something, or binge eating some junk food, or like just distracting from themselves. And in these experiences that I offer, you're in a dark room and you're just lying there. And so some things that people might be sweeping under the rug for a long time come to the surface. And so I see people have, emotional releases sometimes in these experiences. I see people's nervous systems moving energy. And so they're having they're having these involuntary movements and shaking and that sort of thing. And I'm having people, sometimes people get angry. Sometimes people have these moments of irritability and anger, and they just want to get up and leave because they can't handle whatever is coming up inside themselves, the resentments and that sort of thing. And then I have other people that immediately fall asleep. I actually have to have some housekeeping protocols before the session starts, because there's always someone that falls asleep and starts snoring. So I have to tell people what to do. If the person next to you starts to snore, you have permission to gently give them like a gentle nudge. And, because I can't always go and do it myself, I'm sometimes occupied with the instrument. So point being is that there's going to be a full spectrum of different experiences happening all at the same time.
Right.
And a lot of that is not to do with the way that I'm playing the techniques of the instruments or the journey that I'm taking them on. It has to do with what they're going through inside of themselves. And all I'm doing is giving these people a space to become. I don't consider myself a healer. Like I create a space, an environment so that people can heal themselves. it's an opportunity for self-healing
Right.
is the way that I look at it. So
That's beautiful. Struggles are struggles. We're all human. We process things differently. So, say somebody struggles to regulate or has these big feelings and emotions and nervous system reaction in a group setting, and it's just too much to handle, but they really do want to work on healing themselves through sound. Do you have opportunity for said individual to work with you on a one-on-one basis, or it's just something that you offer in a group setting?
yeah, so a lot of times people reach out to me after a session and they explain their experience that they had, and I'm happy to talk them through it. And if it's something that is a serious issue that is beyond my ability to professionally help them with, then I have, Rolodex of contacts that I recommend them and refer them to.
Okay.
So if it's something about grief and loss, I have a person for that. If it's, something about, something they need counseling for, I have a list of people. If it's a physical thing, I have, people that I love to refer them to, like osteopaths, physiotherapists, acupuncturists, and all that sort of thing. And if it's just something emotional that they have to work through, I'm happy to do what I can. I have experience with training with, I have taken counseling training. So I do my best to hold space and have some sort of conversation with these people that might help them. But if it's something beyond my capability, then I always refer them out to other people that are experts in that specific area that they're needing help with.
Great. So let's talk about the academy. Who are your ideal students? Who are your potential? Because somebody might be listening to us and they're interested in, enrolling, joining you and learning, but they feel like they're not well prepared, or they don't understand science, or they're not in the science career path.
Mhm.
What would you say to a person who may be interested but doesn't know much about the nervous system?
Yeah, it's actually quite easy to learn, right? It's a very low barrier to entry. You don't need to go to medical school for 12 years and become a doctor of sound healing. There's actually no governing body that manages the qualifications of sound healers. So it's a really easy field to start to explore. And I think that as long as you learn how to put on a quality experience, it's actually the instruments that have been created for us that are doing the work. As long as you know how to work with them and play them with the proper techniques, which I teach in my academy in depth on how to perform a sound bath effectively, start to finish. And everyone's style is going to be differently, and depending on what background they're coming in with. I was just on the receiving end of a sound bath with a woman who has a background in opera singing.
Mm,
And so she was using her voice, and it was just outstandingly beautiful while she was playing the harmonium and using her voice. And it transported me into like a whole different dimension. And it was quite profound. But for people who are curious about sound healing, or they're maybe already dabbling in it, or they're already doing it, my academy shows people not only the foundational science, theory, application, sound healing, instrument overviews, playing techniques, and tutorials, but it also takes it a step further and shows these students who are in the academy how to develop their personal brand. What is a brand? How to market yourself, how to build a following. It shows you how to reach out to venues and partnerships where you're going to collaborate and offer your experiences to a lot of people and create a system and an ongoing event circuit and series to offer this throughout the region where you live so that you are sort of like this omnipresent sound healer and your brand is all over the region and you build momentum this way and people will start to know about you. They'll start to refer you. Then you can start to do private bookings, corporate events, and affiliate marketing by partnering with products that you believe in and you love. And it shows you how to create a systemized model to become a professional sound healing facilitator. And this can apply to people who want to do it part-time or full-time. And I figured out how to do this full-time. I haven't had to work a job for many years now. This is what I do full-time because I honor it as a business, because we live in an economic reality where we have monthly bills to pay, mortgages, rent, groceries, car payments, all that stuff. So you want to figure out a system that will bring in income that matches and exceeds all of that so that you can be free to be doing something that you're actually passionate about doing. And it helps a lot of people. This is 1,000 times better than any employment that I've ever had in my life where, I'm having people lining up to thank me. Last night I did a sound bath event for 35 people and people were lining up to thank me afterwards. They're still sending me messages on Instagram. Thank you so much. That was amazing. And they're telling me about their experience. So I'm getting a lot of these testimonials that are, confirming that what I'm doing is good work. And that feeling is actually quite priceless. So that's what I teach in my academy. I teach people how to achieve what I've done because this is what I wish that I had when I first started. I wish I had someone who'd already gone down the path ahead of me and showed me exactly what to do and expedite the process to get to a level of success. And all of this can lead to a 6-figure income. So the Sound Healer Blueprint shows the model of how to create a 6-figure income per year from sound healing through creating these multiple income streams.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. So for everybody who's listening, we'll make sure all of that information is in the show notes. So if you're interested to reach out to learn from Mike, you have the full freedom to do that. So one last question. What if somebody's interested in learning from you? They recognize that within them they need healing and they would like to heal sonically, and they follow you on Instagram, they're impressed with everything they see, but distance is the issue because they're not in the same geographical area as you. How would you be able to have an effect on that person, helping that person heal sonically so that they feel like they're in a place to learn and utilize that skill to help others heal?
Yeah, my academy is all online. So, these courses that I offer are remote. They're evergreen, meaning that people can go through them at their own pace, on their own time, their own schedule. But I'm right there beside them on WhatsApp, on the Facebook community group, SoundQuest Academy groups that include all these sound healers from around the world. So they can reach out for support. They can book one-on-one coaching calls with me at any time. I also have a YouTube channel, the SoundQuest Academy YouTube channel. If people want to experience a sound bath that I perform that's professionally recorded, they can go and look through my videos on my YouTube channel and put their headphones on, listen to what I do, and close their eyes and just like immerse into the experience remotely. And if they want to, I think the most effective experience to have in terms of a sound bath is to be in person in real life. So if you don't live where I live, which is Vancouver, Canada, then I'm sure that wherever you're from, there's going to be some sort of sound healing event in person nearby. So I would go on Eventbrite or a Facebook and search out, where there's a sound bath event happening in your area, so that way you can go and you can see what this is. And then if you're inspired by it, come back and see me, go to soundquestacademy.com, and let's talk about how you can pursue this as something you want to do part-time or even full-time.
Beautiful. Thank you. So any last, piece of nugget for us, like golden nugget would be nice. For anybody listening, be it a person who is looking to learn to regulate themselves or somebody who's looking to just like, there's got to be something different. There's got to be something more. What would you say to somebody who may be listening to us, given that you've been in a place where you've had that very discussion with yourself and you've gone on to explore to find ways to have better?
Yes. Yeah. If you are a person who's struggling right now, I would say the best way to start is just, take inventory of what are all the things that you're doing to yourself that are destructive, or like, how are you not being nice to yourself? Are you, having a few too many alcoholic beverages at night to make yourself feel better? But then what does that do? That disrupts your sleep and increases your cortisol levels and makes you stressed out the next day, and affects everything. That has a ripple effect on all your relationships. What are you putting in your body? Are you eating a lot of processed food, junk food, sugar, right? Are you not dealing with trauma that happened to you when you were 15 years old or whatever? Do you need to see someone to regulate the trauma? Are you regularly practicing healthy behavior in general? Are you exercising? Are you moving your body? Are you meditating? These are things that are going to align your being and clean your toroidal field. It's going to clean your energy bubble. And once you start cleaning your energy bubble and removing like the negative toxic things that are putting you in a downward spiral in life, that that continue to attract more of that, right? So if you are feeling negative, depressed, you're going to attract people that are on that same vibrational frequency. You're going to attract circumstances that are on that same vibrational frequency. So how can you start to reverse that and go upward in an upward spiral, right? And that can start by doing the most simple things, like eating whole organic foods, doing a yoga practice, moving your body, going outside and walking in nature, right? Stop scrolling negative information on like TikTok and watching mainstream media news that's just trying to instill fear in us all the time, and lower our vibration. Like, get rid of all that shit, and soon you are going to start, vibrating at a higher frequency, and you're going to start attracting a new and improved reality for your life. So that is my little nugget of wisdom for you for today.
Lots of wisdom, not so little, lots and loads of wisdom. So, yeah, I downloaded a lot of that, and I hope you did too, because that was a whole lot that was said, a lot of wisdom left. And it's easy to want what is outside of us without having to take inventory here. This inventory sometimes is hard, but it's worth it. It's meaningful work. So please take inventory and work out the kinks. It'll benefit you. So I'm so happy you were able to make it here. And we had this conversation, Mike. I learned a lot from you. And I know our listeners and viewers have too. And please reach out. It doesn't hurt to inquire. The website, everything will be in the show notes. Please reach out. You've seen it. SoundQuest Academy, right? SoundQuest.
Yeah, follow me at
Absolutely.
SoundQuest on Instagram,
Absolutely.
SoundQuestAcademy.com if you're interested in pursuing sound healing as a side venture or a full-time career. And also my YouTube channel, SoundQuest Academy on YouTube, where you can see a lot of my sound healing work and also get tutorials and overviews of instruments used in sound healing and how to play them with the correct techniques. So I'd love to connect with you on social media. So yeah, follow me on Instagram at SoundQuest.
Great. Please go, follow, learn something. You might learn and benefit yourself. Just saying. All right. Thank you, Mike, for being here. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Let us know what you think. And please reach out if you feel this resonates with you and you want different for yourself. All right. Take care of yourself. Take care. Bye bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Unshelling Medicine Podcast. If you want to stay up to date with the latest episodes, make sure to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to leave us a review. Follow us on social media at Altruistic Scribe on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. We share additional tips, updates, and health-related content that you won't want to miss. Have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes? Reach out to us at altruisticscribeco.com. We're always eager to hear from our listeners and tackle the health topics that matter most to you. Until next time, stay healthy and take care.